Thank you.
Fabulous.
Great.
That was a hair early, but I think when they're all
Actually,
together.
Let's hear it back.
Listen, it's going to work with three of them together, Carl, and maybe you could do something, something sound-wise with them that's going to make them work as well.
Shut up and get in here.
Where was I?
Yeah, you know that guy yet?
Yeah. Let's hear it back.
Telling me about him.
Was he still the same guy as he was before?
His pair of trousers.
Really?
We've got it, darling.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Very nice, very nice. Actually...
In retrospect, we could have actually waited another year or so before Spirits came out because it was. I think Saturday Night Fever was still in the top 10 even when we brought Spirits out.
Well, that was a 30-ton tour, I call it. A lot of gear. We had like 6 semi-trailers. We had the 707 plane. It was huge. I mean, Dodger Stadium, places like that. We used to dream of this, you know, and having people in the audience like Barbara Streisand and watching your show and loving it, you know. I mean, these are fantasies. These are all dreams, you know. And to have a 707, black with red bottom and our 3 heads on the tail and all this, you're going, whoa, you know, and even getting bomb threats, it was great, you know, because if you weren't important, they wouldn't bomb you, you know.
Great tour, and of course Andy joined us on that tour in a few shows, even John Travolta. It was just a fabulous experience.
To go on stage and see the audience, because that's the only way you can say thank you, really, by going on stage live for putting you there, you know, and that was our way of thanking people, because that's the only way you can do it. Because if it wasn't for the audience, we wouldn't have been up there.
The 50 city tour that we did for Spirits was really the beginning of Morris's alcohol problems.
But you see, I was always very protected. I didn't get all the arrests that people would have got arrested because I was always protected by people looking after me. So I was just having a good time. It's all right. And they'd take me up to my room. I wouldn't worry about getting to bed because they would take me to bed. You know, so we had security and people looking after us and roadies and things. It saved me from a lot of driving, speeding fines and drunk driving tickets, you know. The only time I got the real first one was in the Isle of Man because I was the only guy in a blue Rolls Royce driving around the Isle of Man drunk. You know, so I sort of stuck out like a sore thumb, you know.
It was more of a question of denial. It was more, let's keep writing, Mo will be okay. You know, and the reason that the Streisand Guilty album doesn't really involve Morris on more than one song, which is Guilty, was because at that very point, Morris had reached the razor's edge. He really needed to be in rehab. And so this was really the whole family coming to the same conclusion. Robin and I confronting Morris in his home with Yvonne, his wife, basically having to lay down a law which we did not want to lay down, which was, Mo, it ends now or it ends forever. And at that point, Mo went into rehab and took the step. And Robin and I waited for about 6 months for him to come back around. And then we went back in the studio together and carried on as we had before.
We weren't functioning as a group in the 80s. We were concentrating on songwriting.
The whole "it's time to kill" fever, "it's time to kill disco" period came in, so we just sort of took a back seat. saturation point was ridiculous. That's why we had to sit back and do produce other people and write for other people. I mean, when we heard that they were having BG free weekends in Chicago and places like that, it was scary stuff. And we thought, we'd better take the Bee Gees, better take a little, go on the back burner for a while, so until this dies down or something, you know. So we couldn't do anything as the Bee Gees at all. We didn't make an album until '87.
We'd done so much in the studio and over so few years that I think it all caught up with us.
Myself, personally, I just thought, well, this would give us a chance to explore our writing and write for other artists, because we got offered Barbara.
I called Neil Diamond and I said, you know, what's Barbara like to work with, you know? And he said, oh, she's fantastic, just go for it.
And we got nothing to begin to our love. We're climbing a mountain, we go far. We are, and we never let.
And me and Barry writing it in his bedroom. We'd do a song each day, and then the following week we'd do the lyrics to each respective song that we'd written. And we set the 7 songs that we'd finished at that point to Barbra Streisand. We had an immediate yes. She wanted to start right away. So that was a very enjoyable experience.
From then on, it was always like Dionne Warwick's album, Kenny Rogers and Dolly. We all worked together and wrote. I did some solo stuff with Robin, which was great. So everybody was doing something.
And, you know, we were all sort of scattered at that point. We all wanted some time away. And Robin wanted to live in New York for a little bit. Morris was having back surgery. And so all of these sort of opportunities opened up. We had nothing else to do. And that led to the Diana Ross album, A Chain Reaction, and the Kenny Rogers album with Dolly Parton and Islands in the Stream.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world, and we rely on each other.
Islands in the Stream started out as a soul song.
We came up with the Islands in the Stream in our writing room upstairs. We all looked at each other. We knew we had a monster song. We just didn't know who was going to record it.
It was very like,
Yeah. We viewed it as an R&B song and not a country song. And in the end, it just came to show that those two types of music are very close together. And the Islands in the Stream became a country song.
Really, we're talking about 2 careers here, composers and artists. And it's kind of the 2 go together, but then they're separate as well. And they're both quite, you know, they're both very, very meaningful to us in their own way. We see ourselves as composers first and artists second, because we've always, you know, you can't have the second without the first. And we've always enjoyed writing for other people.
The greatest thing about being a writer, a songwriter, is when you write a song with someone in mind that you really love, and then that person ends up singing it. There's no reward like it.
We wrote a song for Celine Dion called Immortality. She inspired the song, she inspires us. Probably the finest female pop singer in the world. Yeah, it was a dream that she might sing one of our songs one day, and the dream came true.
So this is who I am, and this is all I know.
We wrote Immortality for the Saturday Night Fever musical, and they wanted one big song at the end so the guy could come out, Immortality, you know, do the whole thing. There was a guy that sang it in the show, but we wrote it with Celine totally in mind.
I will stand for my dream if I can, symbol of my faith in who I am, but you are my only.
When we write for girls, Barry always sings it in falsetto, because that's the girls' range. So when they play the song and they hear the demo, they can sing along with it, and it'll be in their range.
Now won't let my heart control my head.
When you hear the demo, you can hear Celine. And then she said she wanted to record it. Blew me away.
We don't say goodbye.
When we first heard Celine sing it, we burst into tears.
Tissues were going everywhere.
It just destroyed us. And that's how we left the building, completely in tears, that this girl had done this with this song.
I make my journey through eternity. I keep the memory of you and me inside. say